So I'm a huge fan of the Prankids, just to kind of throw that out there. I think that what this deck gives to the game itself is the fact that we just have a better restricted Goki. And you can bet your ass that this deck has to do something, just because of the way that the cards are worded, their generalized interactions, and just things like that. So we got a few new cards over the last couple of days. Kind of wanted to just touch on. This is the first wave of support today, along with a few other things. So first off, we got 2 more Makakashi monsters. And honestly, these don't seem like they're going to be too exciting. I don't know. So when I look at the Makakashi and I look at Prankids, the Prankids seem better to me. So the first one is Poison Makakashi Sugahaki. So you can only control one of these guys at all. I love how this is kind of how like they chose to restrict these monsters, was the once per turn, or the once control clause, but it's just me. So if a Makakashi monster is destroyed by battle, or your opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but for the rest of this turn you have to special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Makakashi monsters. You guys remember how we were talking about this entire archetype was kind of just made to extend up the synchro ladder? Well, here you go. Another one of the monsters that enables the functional climbing of that ladder. So I don't particularly think that these cards are all that exciting, but it's just that. So the level 5 Corpse Makakashi Yasha. So you can control more than one of these guys. Cool. Discard another Makakashi monster from your hand. Special summon this card from your hand. Interesting. While this card is in the monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck except for Makakashis. Why are these so restricting? I don't really... I don't get it. But 2 rather interesting support cards nonetheless. Now, Prankids have got a lot of hype going about them right now. The fact that most of their effects do a lot, and most of them, you know, to some form and degree, are all kind of tied in together. You know, just you gotta prank them all. So anyway, the Prankids prank. So you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. So you can discard 1 Prankids card from your hand, so summon 1 Prankids token, Pyro Fire level 1/0/0, but you cannot tribute it for a tribute summon. So actually, I appreciate that for what it is. You know, token generation is kind of something that this deck needed. You know, having another Prankids at your, you know, access to be able to make these cards playable. It's honestly, I think, one of the things that this deck needed. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this will interact. I mean, it's kind of costly to generate a token in this method, but I don't see any issue with this card. And then during the end phase, you can target 3 Prankids cards in your graveyard, except for Prankids Prank. Shuffle them into the deck, and then draw 1 card. So first off, they did put a restriction on this. They don't want you recycling these back into the deck. It's kind of going to be one of those things that, like, once they're gone, they're gone. During the end phase is a little bit rough too, but, you know, they don't want you climbing up the link ladder and abusing this archetype. So that's why they put the restriction on these cards, to make sure that, you know, you don't massively abuse them. And I think for this card, the way that it is designed for the Prankids archetype, that it should be relatively good. I don't see... It's fair. About as much as you're going to get. And, you know, fair Yu-Gi-Oh cards are, well, they're fair. So this card's not overly broken. It does give the archetype a few things that they did need, and I do support that. The trap card, on the other hand, down here. So during the main phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, link summon 1 Prankids Link monster using Prankids you control as material. They gave them a means to link summon on the opponent's turn. I'm not a particular fan of effects like this. I don't know what it is with just generalized card effects that push for link summoning on the opponent's turn, but I'm sure there can be some really interesting interactions to come out of this, honestly, because some of the Prankids Link monsters are really fucking good. And then, of course, when a monster your opponent controls declares an attack, you can banish this card, return any number of Prankids in your graveyard to the deck, and if you do, the attacking monster loses 100 attack until the end of the turn, equal to the number of cards returned, times 100. Once again, I don't particularly like this effect. I think that this is kind of a waste of a very good effect. I don't know. I understand, like, you want the whole deck to recur itself and just continuously be Pot of Avarice, but why would I play this when I can play this? Decreasing the opponent's monster's attack doesn't seem that good, honestly, but this one just kind of falls short. Link summoning on the opponent's turn is fine and dandy, but it doesn't suit the need for power that I actually want in this deck for just the support that we have. So this is another support card that just kind of falls short, in my opinion, for the support. Now, yesterday we got this hot piece of ass, and oh my god. So they made an attempt to fix Prankids with this card. So this is their field spell. So when this card is activated, you can add one Prankids monster from your deck to your hand. Doesn't search for spells and trap cards, but that we don't care about that. So once per turn, if you fusion summon a Prankids fusion monster, you can have all monsters you control gain 500 attack, which is actually very beautiful. In addition, when you link summon a Prankids monster, you can have all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack. So here's the thing. This card is an OTK generator. When I was looking at Prankids originally, the ability to shit out relatively large monsters is going to be the thing, but you have to use those monsters in an effective means to try to, close out the game. And this field spell gives you the means to give yourself a 1,000 buff across your monsters, well, obviously decreasing your opponent's monsters, so it kind of comes down to an extra 1,000 buff. But this card allows you to close games in a deck that I think a lot of people are going to consider a going second. I really was hoping that this deck had actual, like, going first plays with, like, board building and shit like that, but when I see field spells like this, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna just play this deck and go second. Like, OTKing your opponent is going to be what this deck does, and unfortunately you're not going to get a much different approach to it other than build your board OTK, build your board OTK. It's kind of like a lot of the other decks we have in the current format, but unfortunately, you take what you can get in this format. And I think this field spell is fucking fantastic for this deck. It's definitely one of the missing pieces we needed. And what was the other thing we got the other day? Oh yeah, we got Bow Wow 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 Link 2. When I first saw the Link 4, I was like, oh shit, I hope they definitely give us something else for this deck. And they did it. So we got Bow Wow 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 Wow. So 2 Prankids to make it. Prankids monsters, this card points to gains 1,000 attack. Once again, can we just... The field spell, giving you that extra 1,000 punch of damage. And then this guy giving another extra 1,000 to 2 other monsters. Well, to 1 because of the arrow. So, I mean, you've got between 2 cards an extra 2,000 damage. Like, this deck has to be an OTK deck. And then once per turn, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, contribute this card. Then target 2 Prankids monsters with different names in your graveyard, except for Link monsters. Add them to your hand. Also, Prankids you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So by getting rid of this guy, the materials recur back to the hand, which is, once again, something that this deck loves to do. You have the means to grant other protection to your other cards in the situation that I feel you find yourself going first and building a board. This deck does have actual protection built into it, but like I said, the predominant function of this deck is going to be create your board, kill your opponent, and go, because of the current card support that they have. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this deck, mostly because going second OTK decks, like, there are a lot of them in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Things like Cyber Dragons, Ancient Gears, Invoked Mech Knight, these, well, I guess even Pure Mech Knight as a concept, but these decks all opt to go second. So having more going second decks coming into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is what we need. We have infinite going first decks, and because we have so many of these going first decks, I would almost say that the game's become stagnant, but having more diversity available at our hands, let's be real here, this deck's already going to be severely expensive when it comes out, just because of what it is. People read the effects, people understand that these cards are going to be good. You give them Marota, you gave them a massive attack boost, you gave them all self-replacement clauses, even though they're all mostly restricted to once per turn, but I mean, that's all you really need. And they've got the means to fusion summon out boss monsters. Like, this is everything that Goki should have been, but unrestricted, more or less. So, guys, please tell me what you guys think about the new Prankids down below in the description. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on these. Really, I haven't talked about these much, but I am super excited for them. Not so much the Neftivist support, but that'll be for another day. All right, guys, peace out. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.